The last thing I remember, before the floor came up to meet me, was the spreadsheet. I had been staring at it too long, numbers sliding together until the screen felt like water. Someone asked if I was okay. I remember trying to answer, but the room tilted sideways first, then nothing. When I woke up, everything was white and humming. Not the bright kind of white. The muted hospital kind, where the light is always dim enough to feel like early morning. Machines clicked softly beside me. Something tugged at my arm. "ICU," someone said when I asked where I was. The words felt distant, like they were being spoken down a long hallway. I noticed something before anything else. The chair beside the bed was empty. No jacket, no phone charger, no familiar voice arguing with a nurse about visiting hours. Just the chair. A nurse came in later, cheerful in the way people are when they're trying not to scare you. "You fainted at work," she said. "Severe exhaustion. Your body basically forced a shutdown." I nodded slowly. She checked the monitors, then glanced at a tablet. "We contacted your emergency contacts. Plural. Did they come?" I asked. She hesitated in the small, polite way that people do when they're deciding how much honesty is appropriate. "They said they were traveling." Traveling. My parents had been planning a trip to Cancun with my younger brother. The golden one. The one who never had to prove anything. I stared at the ceiling and let that information settle. It didn't even sting the way it should have. It felt expected. Like a weather report confirming rain. The ICU runs on strange time, sleep comes in fragments, nurses appear and disappear like quiet ghosts. The outside world becomes a rumor. On the second night, someone sat in the chair. I woke up just enough to see a silhouette leaning forward, elbows on knees. "Hey," a voice whispered. "Don't try to talk." It was Sam from my office. He had always been the calm one during deadlines. The guy who brought snacks during overnight projects. I must have drifted off again, because when I woke later the chair was empty. But the next night it was filled again. Not always Sam. Sometimes it was Leela from accounting. Sometimes Marcus from the design team. Once it was my old college roommate who I hadn't seen in months but somehow heard what happened. They didn't stay long. ICU rules are strict. But every evening someone showed up. Sometimes they talked softly about normal things, office gossip, the weather, a terrible coffee machine someone had finally replaced. Sometimes they just sat. It took me a few days to understand the pattern. They were coming after work. Every night. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed occasionally with messages from my parents. "How are you feeling? Doctor says you'll be fine, right?" One afternoon my mom sent a photo. Her and my brother on a beach chair, blue water behind them. No explanation. Just the picture. I looked at it for a long time before putting the phone face down. The nights kept passing. Visitors kept coming. Sometimes I woke while they were there. Sometimes I only saw the evidence in small ways. A water bottle moved closer. A book left on the table. A nurse mentioning someone had asked about my test results. It felt strange at first. Like I was receiving care that had been misdelivered. Then slowly, something else settled in. Maybe it hadn't been misdelivered. Maybe it had just come from somewhere else. 10 days after I woke up, my mother finally arrived. You could feel her irritation before she even spoke. Hospitals don't move at vacation speed, and she seemed annoyed about that. She walked into the room carrying a handbag and the energy of someone managing an inconvenience. "Oh good, you're awake," she said quickly. "You look fine." She glanced at the machines. "So when are they discharging you?" I blinked. "I don't know." "Well, they can't keep you here forever," she said. "It's unnecessary. You'll recover faster at home." She said it the way someone discusses returning a product to a store. A nurse stepped in a few minutes later to check my vitals. My mother immediately redirected her. "Yes, hello. I'm his mother. We're trying to arrange discharge today or tomorrow." The nurse listened politely. ICU nurses have a particular calm that comes from dealing with every kind of family imaginable. "Your child is still under observation," she said gently, "but he's clearly conscious now," my mother insisted. "And frankly, this has been going on long enough." The nurse nodded once, then turned toward a small folder on the counter. "Of course. We'll follow the medical team's plan." She paused. "Also, since you just arrived, you might want to see the visitor log." My mother frowned slightly. "The what?" "Standard ICU documentation," the nurse said. She handed over a clipboard. My mother took it without much interest. Then she looked down. At first her expression stayed neutral. Then her eyes moved further down the page. And further. The log was simple. Dates, times. The same names repeating. Night after night. Sam, Leela. Marcus. Daniel, my college roommate. Some nights 2 names, some nights 3. Always evenings. Always signed out just before the ICU's final visiting cutoff. My mother turned another page. The pattern kept going. 10 days of it. Her face slowly lost its color. No one said anything. The nurse didn't explain. She didn't accuse. She simply waited. Eventually my mother lowered the clipboard. "Who are these people?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer right away. The nurse spoke first. "They've been here every evening," she said. "Checking on him." Another quiet moment passed. For the first time since she arrived, my mother didn't have instructions. The authority she carried into the room had nowhere to land. Recovery plans had already been discussed, with people who had actually been present. After a while she set the clipboard down on the counter. No argument followed. No scene. Just silence. Later that night, Sam came back like usual. He pushed the chair closer and sat down. "You look more awake," he said. "Yeah," I replied. He glanced at the monitors. "Doctor says you're improving." I nodded. For a moment we both just sat there listening to the steady rhythm of the machines. Then I looked at him. At the chair that hadn't been empty for days, something inside me had shifted, quietly but permanently. For most of my life, I thought family was something you kept trying to earn. Something that might eventually notice how hard you were working. But as I lay there in that hospital bed, it became clear that care had already been happening. Just not where I'd been looking. And for the first time in a long time, the room didn't feel empty anymore.